You've been thinking about investing in real estate for years. You watch the videos, you read the books, but you never pull the trigger. Why is that? Because you tell yourself, I don't have time, I'm not a contractor, I don't have enough money, I can't find good deals, and I can't find good contractors. And so you sit on the sidelines. Well, other people build wealth with the same 24 hours that you have, the same skills, and sometimes even less money than you have. These are 5 myths. This is what keeps about 90% of aspiring investors stuck in analysis paralysis. This is what separates people who build rental portfolios from people who just talk about building them. And today, we're destroying every single one of them. Myth number one, you need a ton of time. One of my clients is a cardiologist. He works at least 60 hours a week. Very high stress job. He practically lives in the operating room. When I met him, he told me, I really want to invest in real estate, but I don't have time to manage properties. He thought that real estate meant just being a landlord, fixing toilets at 2 a.m., taking tenant calls on Christmas. Is that what's stopping you? You're thinking, I already work 50 to 60 hours a week. Where on earth am I going to find time to manage a property? You're picturing yourself getting called because of a broken hot water heater in the middle of the night, or getting calls while you're at your kids' soccer games. You're imagining weekends spent showing apartments and tracking down rent checks. Can you relate to that? Well, here's what he discovered, and a lot of other investors discovered. Property managers do exist. For about 8 to 10% of the rent, someone else handles the tenants, the maintenance, the emergencies, everything. He now spends maybe 2 hours a month, give or take, reviewing statements, approving big decisions. That's it. The system runs without him. His property's cash flow, I think he told me last time we talked, was about $5,500 a month. And he's in surgery while it's happening. The question isn't, do you have time? The question is, do you have time not to build wealth? You don't need time, you need a team. The second myth is you need a construction background. I work with another client who is a software engineer. He now owns 8 rental properties. This is what he told me when we first started working together. And I quote, I can't hammer a nail to save my life, is what he told me. He never picked up a drill. He told his fear of not being handy, and he said that almost held him back from buying his first property. Does that sound familiar? You're probably thinking, what if something breaks? What if I don't know how to fix it? But here's what nobody tells you. You're not becoming a contractor, you're hiring contractors. You're the CEO, not the employee. I personally have no construction experience, and that has never held me back, not once. I just learned to ask the right questions, and now I know what to look for. I have trusted contractors and property inspectors that I lean on because they are the experts at what they do. I make business decisions, and with that are construction decisions. But I don't need to know how to fix the foundation to know that it's broken. I just need to know who to call when it needs fixing. You're the architect of your future, not the hammer. And here's the third myth. You need to have a lot of money to get started. A couple of years ago, I worked with a teacher and she really wanted to buy her first rental property. She was making, I think at the time, just under 60K, and she had saved $15,000. She thought, there's no way that's enough. She thought that real estate was for people with hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. Are you sitting on the sidelines because you think you don't have enough money? Are you looking at your savings account and thinking, that's not enough for real estate? Do you see others around you and think, they must have family money? They must have some advantage that I don't have. So my client, the school teacher, was able to figure out a deal where she put 3.5% down using an FHA loan on a $220,000 duplex. That's $7,700 plus closing cost. She actually lives in one unit and rents out the other. The tenant pays for most of her mortgage. And 2 years later, she refinanced that same property, pulled out $35,000 in equity, and bought property number two. She did not have a ton of money. She just needed to understand how financing works. There's so many different options like house hacking, those FHA loans I just mentioned, seller financing, hard money, subject to. There are more than a dozen ways to acquire properties without being wealthy. You don't need to know them all. You just need to know that they exist. Yes, rich people do invest in real estate, but real estate creates rich people. That's what I want you to understand. Myth number 4, it's hard to find good contractors. Before I got started, my biggest fear was not being able to find a contractor. I'd heard horror stories, people who disappear, overcharge for their work, do terrible work. Everyone says it's impossible to find good contractors. Is that running through your head too? You're thinking about the neighbor who got scammed, the friend whose contractor vanished halfway through without finishing the project and took all their money. You're convinced that finding reliable contractors is like finding a unicorn. Here's a different perspective and something I want you to consider. This was something that really changed the game for me when I figured this out. There are contractors out there that would prefer to work with investors. They like knowing that they will have consistent work without having to worry about marketing, their services, and always finding new clients. You can find them in local investor Facebook groups, local meetups, referrals from other investors or contractors. You can even go to some of the big box stores early in the morning and find them, or talk to the service desks at those same big box stores, and you'd be surprised what they know. I have never had an issue finding good contractors to work with. You need to treat them with kindness and respect like you normally would anybody. Communicate with them professionally, pay them timely, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to work with good people. And when you meet good contractors, they want to introduce you to their subs because you treat them well. And that's a different perspective I want you to have. And myth number 5, it's impossible to find good deals. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this from newer investors. There's no good deals left. I should have started investing in 2008. I missed the boat. I should have bought before COVID. You've probably said the exact same thing, haven't you? You're scrolling through Zillow thinking these numbers just don't make sense. Why bother looking? There's nothing left. The deals that people send to you, the numbers just don't work. But I'm going to challenge you to change your perspective again. Instead of looking at the asking price of properties that you're analyzing, make an offer with numbers that work for you. Start negotiating. An offer that isn't made can never be accepted. You need to take a shot to see if it's going to be accepted. Deals aren't found. Deals are made by people who see what others miss. Notice the pattern here? Every single myth has the same root problem. It's not time, it's not skills, it's not money, it's not contractors, it's not the market, it's perspective. You're looking at real estate through the lens of an employee. I have to do everything myself. I need to know everything. Everything needs to be perfect before I start. But investors, they think like business owners. They don't have to do everything themselves. They know they can find the person that will do it for them. The biggest myth that you're telling yourself is that real estate is for other people and not you. I challenge you to change your perspective. When you shift from I can't because to how can I, you stop being somebody who thinks about real estate and you become somebody who owns real estate. I have some free resources below if you'd like to check them out.